The President of the United States reopened the government officially after the folks in the Senate and the folks in the House got business through and got it to the President's desk. Congressman Scott Perry was one of those individuals, represents the 10th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. So you're back to business, Congressman. Good morning.
Well, yeah, we're back to the kind of usual chaos, and that's obviously, look, that's an improvement over the shutdown. But you know, what was this whole thing about? It appears that it's about several things. It was about trying to drive out their base in the November elections to get their people fired up. I think it had some effect in that regard. It was about Chuck Schumer trying to fend off a primary from AOC. And it was generally about the Democrats, disliking the president and wanting to register their disaffection with him in the most visible way possible, regardless of whatever we were voting on or whatever he stands for. And what people maybe don't realize is that this is the exact same bill that, for all intents and purposes, that was voted not only on, but voted for by all the Democrats in March. And they voted for the same type of bill a dozen times before under the Biden administration. And so this is just a display. This is all political theater. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that get caught up in the problems that it creates, whether you're trying to travel, whether you're one of these beneficiaries, whether you're a government employee that would like a paycheck, whether you're a contractor that's doing work and would like to be paid for your work. Those are all the casualties of Chuck Schumer and the Democrat Party, at large. That's, their theater. That's what this is about.
Congressman, the Speaker of the House came out and really thundered about Obamacare again yesterday. And my position is, and I don't know if you share it politically, I am all for you guys having it out. The Democrats are mad as all hell because you guys reopened the government and they didn't get their way with Obamacare. And they said, I don't trust John Thune to bring it back up. And I actually take the position, I think Republicans would do very well to bring this up and have a very open public debate about its failure all over again. I'm for it, personally. It sounds like Mike Johnson is. Are you? Shouldn't we be talking about why it doesn't work?
Yeah, we're going to have to. We're going to have to talk about why it doesn't work. And, and of course, the answer from our, opponents is that, what's your plan? What's your plan? And look, we've had plans. We've brought them forward. We're going to be bringing some of that forward again. But that's their answer is that our plan is terrible. Our plan is unaffordable. Our plan sucks, but let's just keep it because you haven't offered anything better at this moment. And not only let's just keep it for the moment while we're working on it, let's keep it forever. Let's keep the plan that is unaffordable. Do you realize that premiums have gone up since Obamacare has started I think it's over 1,000%. And,
Yes.
Since the pandemic, since these additional subsidies created by the Democrats to make Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, affordable, I think the insurance company profits are up 230%. So these people somebody's making a lot of money, but it's not the American people. 7% of America is on Obamacare. 97% of America supports and funds Obamacare with insurance that they themselves can't afford. When you hear monthly premiums for a family of four in the thousands of dollars range,
outrageous.
What is it going to take to understand that socialized medicine, Obamacare, doesn't work, never was going to work? It's exactly what everybody told, well, not everybody. It's exactly what Republicans told everybody was going to happen. You couldn't keep your doctor. It wasn't. You were not going to be able to keep your plan. It was not going to be affordable. Now, so what's the solution, right? Because the problem is right now that there's a bunch of people that are going to be on a cliff, right? Let's say they're paying $85 a month. There are literally people that pay zero, but let's just say they're paying $85 a month, and their premium's going to go to $500 a month. That's a huge difference, and it is objectionable, and rightly so. So what is the off-ramp? I think there's going to be an off-ramp, but at the end of the day, what we need to be focused on is what is the consumer experience in healthcare. Nobody knows what anything costs. Everything's difficult. You got to be in some network. Why do you have to be in a network? This is all. Obamacare wasn't about healthcare. Obamacare was about forcing people to buy insurance and transferring wealth to insurance companies from people that have, so that the people that refuse to pay or couldn't pay, were covered. There are other ways of dealing with that. And, of course, the best way to deal with that is to inject the free market into it. Let insurance companies sell across state lines. Have a variety of options for people, like high deductible plans or short-term plans, or incentivize people through association health plans and incentivize them by not taxing the money that they spend on those things. None of that stuff has ever happened. It's all been top down. The government provides the answers, and you get whatever you get, right? You go to the doctor says you need an MRI, but the insurance company says, well, we're not paying for one. And so you wait, so that's rationing, and you don't get the care because some bean counter at an insurance company says no, even though your doctor says yes. And look, I'm not against insurance. Yeah, I used to be an insurance agent, but this is not supposed to be so that insurance companies get rich and people go bankrupt to get their health care. I don't blame the insurance companies. They're operating within the system that was built for them.
I will just say, I know of this is just one anecdotal story. I know of a woman, their family is on one plan, but their daughter has a specific set of health needs that traditional insurance wouldn't cover, and so they went on Obamacare. But now, as of now, this major children's hospital told this particular person that I know they will no longer accept Obamacare for their child's health care needs. Now, I don't know why, but I can bet it's largely tied to reimbursement rates and other things that just don't jive with the way this children's hospital works. And so they just said, we'd rather just not deal with Obamacare at all. I suspect that's just one of probably millions of stories like it.
Well, you're exactly right. And, of course, the other thing that we were sold on, and let's be clear about it, it was all a lie, right? When the President of the United States said, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. This will lower the cost of health care. All of that was a lie. And so we were all sold on this because everybody needed health care. But now this person, who allegedly this program was designed for, the person you're discussing, doesn't have health care, can't afford it, and is out in the cold. It is an abject failure. And the Democrats are saying now that Republicans are walking away from a health care crisis. Well, at least they're admitting it's a crisis. It's a crisis they created.
Congressman, can't you use the tax code? And I think you would say yes. Can't we use the tax code to empower the consumer? Like beef it up. If I've got to pay out of pocket, or maybe give more to HSAs, or shouldn't there be some sort of tax incentive for my health insurance needs or my health care costs? Is that
absolutely.
A solution?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I said. We should not tax people for the money that they pay towards their health care. It incentivizes them to spend money on their health care and their wellness so that they prevent bad things from happening before they happen, and it makes it all more affordable. The federal government shouldn't be in the business of we got to tax every single thing that everybody does because we need money. Let people keep their money. Don't send it to the federal government, and they can spend it on themselves the way they best see fit.
Scott Perry represents the 10th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I want to get into tariffs for a minute. I'm fascinated with this fight before the Supreme Court. I'm leaning toward the idea that Roberts and at least the three lefties on the court are probably going to throw in against President Trump's tariffs. If Gorsuch's line of questioning and oral arguments is to suggest anything, it's that maybe he's leaning against it too. But if the Supreme Court should say President Trump can't unilaterally impose tariffs and they don't deem it an emergency, What does that mean? Bessent's been out there, the president's been out there saying not only is it reversing this huge $38 trillion hole that we're in, but he wants to give revenue checks, dividend checks to every American to the tune of $2,000. Do you like the concept of these tariffs? Bessent says we'll back off of them as the economy grows. They're not here forever, but they're useful and they're a tool and we need them, and the president should be allowed to do it. And Congress has given him the power to do it. The Supreme Court may stop that, though. So where do you come down in that whole thing?
Well, look, I don't love tariffs. Let me just be clear about it. I don't love them. I understand why the president is doing it. It is because America is not competitive with other nations. We have high regulatory costs. We have high labor costs. We have high environmental control costs. These other countries don't care how much they pollute. They don't care about slave labor. They don't care about regulations, keeping products safe or any of that kind of stuff. So I get it. How do you level the playing field? And look, for people that say, well, the president should just get rid of regulations, the president should just lower all the taxes. I think if the president could do all those things, he would do all those things. It requires Congress to do those things. And, of course, we have to deal with, what we have to deal with in Congress. You get it. So the president is trying to level the playing field, but it's going to take some time. That being said, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, have done this at different levels, and now it's at the Supreme Court because it's Trump, right? Nobody, the left can't stand him, so we got to take it to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I would say this. I don't think that, personally, I don't think it's a great look to have the tariffs and then write checks to individual citizens. Then lower the tariff and lower the price of things and make us more competitive, and then the citizens can use that opportunity with more money in their pocket from less taxes and less spending on the tariffs themselves to do what they want with their money. And so I think that's the best way to go. I think it's good that they're not supposed to be forever. But let's face it, a lot of countries, regardless of the United States tariffs, had been abusing the United States on a financial level and a trade level for a very long time, and most of our leaders would do nothing about it. And I'm talking about, our neighbors, even our close neighbors like Canada and Mexico, our largest trading partners, would be protecting us towards their own industries at our peril, and we would just accept it. And our producers, job creators were put out of business. That has to end.
Congressman Scott Perry, we're going to have you back. There's a lot to catch up on now that the government's reopened. We're just getting started, but thank you for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great day.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.